I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All 6 of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. And this is actually not a request. I wanted to watch something random. Although, if people do have requests, reviews, re-reviews, pretty much any type of video, movie topic, reaction, whatever, you can request it either directly to my PayPal or join me on my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And if not, no worries. But this one, I was curious about because I had heard about it. I like David Arquette as an actor. And I gotta say, this might be my favorite thing I've seen so far in 2020. It really truly is. I really enjoyed this. This was a documentary I thought was heartfelt. It was an uplifting story. I think for wrestling and non-wrestling fans, I highly recommend this. 2020, because of what's going on, you get movies, but you don't get as much as before, right? So there have been films this year I've enjoyed. Bad Boys for Life, Sonic the Hedgehog, VFW, Guns Akimbo, a few others. But this one really, I thought, hit all the right notes for me. And if I can find a trailer, I'll put it around here now, but if not, maybe to the side or something. But yeah, I really enjoy this. I really do recommend it.
Legends of Wrestling, one of the biggest events of the year. 10,000 fans in attendance as Ken Anderson takes on David Arquette.
David Arquette as the wrestler sucks.
I don't give a shit about David Arquette.
It's the biggest disgrace in professional wrestling history.
David Arquette, what's going on here?
An untrained Hollywood actor wins most prestigious championship.
His involvement in wrestling really hurt his career.
10 years of rejection. That's crazy. I want to clear my name and, through the process, honor wrestling.
This ain't the movies. We don't have stunt doubles.
I'd like to announce my return to professional wrestling.
Did I wrestle again? What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
That's my boy.
Why do you want to get back in the ring?
It's been 18 years of people thinking I disrespected wrestling.
I'm just kind of sick of being a joke. There's a lot going on with David.
His anxiety is crippling. 2 years ago, it's a heart attack. A year later, it's a death match. So what does that mean for next year?
The ribs actually break, they can actually bleed into your lungs.
Wrestling's not fake, guys. Wrestling's not fake.
Wrestling's done!
You are godlike. You are the man.
Dad, what? What are you gonna do when you go to your movie and you show up like that?
Oh, shit.
Now, like I said, I've always liked David Arquette. He seems like a good guy. Maybe he doesn't always make the right choices, movie-wise or such, but it seems like he always means well. He always had that goofy persona, like, hey, how's it going, buddy? Like, hey, how's it going? Which, watching it, that is his real persona. And what the documentary is about is David Arquette wanting to redeem himself and get back into wrestling. Now, for those who don't know, back around 2000, WCW, this is part of the Monday Night Wars where WWF and WCW were fighting each other. Vince Russo, who's a writer and a guy known to have made a lot of bad decisions, and Eric Bischoff, who was the guy running things there, they got the idea where the company also owned the company that made Ready to Rumble, which I have reviewed on here. It's a WCW fueled film starring James Caan's son and David Arquette. And I thought it was a fun, goofy, stupid, silly comedy. I had fun for what it was. Plus, it was cool to see people like Goldberg and Steen and Booker T, Diamond Dallas Page. Ready Rumble I thought was fun. It wasn't rocket science or anything, but it was fun. So as part of the promotion for it, David Arquette got thrust into something that he didn't want to do. It was one of those, well, you just say no to everything, but then everything's done, and your movie, your whole promotion's ruined, and you don't get all the blame for it and all that stuff. So he was put into this thing where it's going to be a tag team match between him and Diamond Dallas Page versus, I want to say it was Jeff Jarrett, could be wrong, and Eric Bischoff. It's for the title, which granted, I don't know why a tag team would result in the title, but you know, Vince Russo, like all these stupid, that was a time where WCW was doing these things where they would have matches where a fucking person was on a goddamn forklift, and like Buff Bagwell's mom was on a forklift, and you don't fight for Judy Bagwell who's tied to that forklift, and there's a fucking piñata, go get to the piñata and break the piñata, and which piñata has the belt, you win. This fucking stupid shit. Anyway, David Arquette beats Eric Bischoff and wins the belt, and people lost their minds negatively, to the point all these years later, even 20 years later, people say that's one of the worst things that happened to wrestling. And they blame David Arquette for killing wrestling and or being one of the things that killed WCW. I'm like, no, what killed WCW was not being managed properly. The fact that people didn't know what the hell was going on until the night it happened. The fact that you would pay these other stars humongous amount of money, but then you gave him creative control so Scott Hall could come out fucking drunk and do whatever he wanted drunk, so then he was let go, or just let the inmates run the asylum. And then when things were going up shit creek, one of the people, there's companies behind TNT and Ted, like all that stuff, they just went, well, we don't want to be in the wrestling business anymore. Then Eric Bischoff was going to buy it, but then something happened and Vince McMahon bought it, and then did nothing with it except make fun of it for 20 years. I'm like, this is what I was getting at, where, okay, David Arquette winning the belt, it never bothered me. I'm not saying it was a good decision, but to put it all on David Arquette, where even David Arquette at the time said, no, this is a bad idea. And Diamond Dallas Page said, no, don't do that to him, guys. This is a bad idea. But then like, no, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. And in the documentary, even Diamond Dallas Page, I thought, made a good argument where he looked at the camera and said, okay, be serious. If you're a wrestling fan, like David is a hardcore wrestling fan, and they came up to you and said, how would you like to win the belt? Yeah, none of you would ever do it, huh? And Diamond Dallas Page like rolled his eyes. Yeah, none of you would do that. But I guess what I'm getting is that people think that's the worst fucking thing ever. I can name 50 things since then that the WWE has done that is dumber, sillier, more stupid, more ridiculous, more breaking kayfabe, however you want to put it, than David Arquette. I mean, since then you had Triple H and the Katie Vick angle fucking a corpse. I know before I kept thinking it was Vince McMahon. When I did that video reacting to that wrestling, it was a few weeks back, I kept thinking it was Vince McMahon that did it, and people in the comments like, wasn't that Triple H? I'm like, of course it was Nipple H. Of course it was Preparation H. I never liked Triple H. I always hated him as a wrestler. I didn't think he was that good of a technical wrestler. I hated his promos. Ooh, I'm the Dame, but I only say the same. I hated his music. I fucking hated everything about Triple H. I thought Booker T should have beat him, and that was bullshit. Because, well, Triple H will lose at WrestleMania unless it's to a WCW guy. Then he'll win. Because he beat Steen and he beat Booker T. I'm like, gee, I wonder... That doesn't say anything about being butthurt that WCW beat you for a few bits. But anyway, yeah, Triple H fucked a corpse. The people, he was being nice, but someone mentioned, well, Matt, you do know it was a mannequin. No, I really thought he fucked an actual corpse. I thought they actually filmed necrophilia for TV. No, of course. My point is, story-wise, the story in WCW was David Arquette beat Eric Bischoff. And this lucky thing happened. It lasted like a little bit of time. And there you go. It's not like if he had beat Goldberg, if he had beat Steen, if he had beat Macho Man Randy Savage or Hulk Hogan or DDP or someone else, fine. I could understand. But he beat Eric fucking Bischoff. Like I was saying, we've had throughout... This is one of the reasons why I got out of wrestling is, of course, you could say it's not real. The stuff in the ring is real. Real pain, real hurt, putting your bodies every day through the ringer. Punches and body slams, and yeah, it might be choreographed. The winner might be chosen beforehand, but I would not call it fake when the shit they do in the ring... David Arquette will himself tell you it's fucking real. It's real enough, I should say. But, you know, I remember back in the day, people, understandably so, took his shit on. Remember Ultimate Warrior and the Papa Shango and the Voodoo, and then Ultimate Warrior's makeup was melting. Like, people are like, wow, that was stupid. Oh, like the David Arquette thing. What have we had since? Whether in the WWE or in the independent circuit or AEW, like I said, you had, I'm gonna chop you, even before you, I'm gonna chop your pee-pee off. Someone's gonna take a fucking sword and chop off, oh, what the hell was his name? The guy, the wrestler who, he faced himself as if he was a porn star. God, his name's on the tip of my tongue. And some guy with a samurai sword is like, I'm gonna chop your dick off. Triple H fucking a corpse in a funeral parlor. You had wrestlers dealing with puppets in fucking Firefly fun houses. Like, okay, Papa Shango and Ultimate Warrior, that was silly. And the David Arquette, that was so outrageous. But you got John Cena in a goddamn Firefly funhouse with Bray Wyatt and fucking puppets. Goddamn puppets, as if it's Sesame fucking Street. Some weird acid trip. You have these movie fights now where someone was fighting and someone got eaten by a fucking alligator or something. But next week they're perfect. Like, yeah, eaten by an alligator. We got wrestlers who teleport. We got wrestlers fighting on fucking football fields. Football field fuckeries. We got goddamn wrestlers doing sonic booms from Street Fighter and they react as if they got hit. They got invisible hand grenades where they throw a grenade up, the invisible one lands and people, oh. We got people fighting the invisible fucking man. We had a guy do a dick spot where a guy who would literally take his fucking legs, put your hand in between it, and people would be like, ah, as if I guess the guy's dick was biting them, and do this, and the guy would flip over because supposedly his dick was so powerful it made the guy flip over. Like, this is the wrestling of today, but you want to talk shit about David Arquette beating Eric Bischoff. Oh, it's okay for Vince McMahon to get the belt. He won a fucking Royal Rumble by Stone Cold Steve Austin getting thrown out, won the Royal Rumble, and then won the championship belt. Vince McMahon. Well, he's not an outsider, but he's not a fucking wrestler either. I'm sorry, I don't call his matches wrestling matches. Yeah, it's fun to see Stone Cold Steve Austin beat the shit out of him. But when Vince McMahon was fighting Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair, would you call those wrestling matches? I mean, Stephanie McMahon won a fucking women's championship belt. Would you call her a fucking wrestler? But she's part of the business. So being an executive means you can win a championship. I mean, where are the lines? That's why it's like, where's the fucking lines that get drawn between, well, that's stupid, but that's not, but that's stupid, but that's not. And that's why, I got out of fucking wrestling. That and, John Cena was like the top for a while, and then just didn't give anyway, it's been almost 14 minutes. I haven't talked about the actual document. But I guess I really want to get into the fact that there's been so much shit 20 times, 30 times worse than David Arquette. But yet David Arquette still got shit on. Which he didn't even choose it. He didn't even want to do it. They kind of pushed him along with it. Just, he thought, well, WCW, they'll know better, right? Fuck no, but the documentary had a lot of heart to it. And I learned, I like David Arquette. I liked him as an actor. I liked him in, whether it be Ready to Rumble or Scream or Eight-Legged Freaks. I didn't mind that film. And what was nice about many things nice about this, Patricia Arquette and Rosanna Arquette, they made appearances. That was nice. Diamond Dallas Page, Booker T had a little brief appearance. Luke Perry. Didn't know that David Arquette was really close to Luke Perry, and Luke Perry has a little appearance. And of course, Jungle Boy, who's a wrestler, who's Luke Perry's son. If you see a wrestler in AEW named Jungle Boy, or you type up Jungle Boy AEW, that's Luke Perry's son, and he's good friends with David Arquette. Eric Bischoff has an appearance in this. And learning about David, how he struggled with drugs and alcohol, how I think it was a car accident. There's a moment that when I look at David Arquette, he seems like a very nice guy, generous guy, but he has that demeanor of, hey, how's it going? So you're going, is he high all the time? But then I watched this doc. I wouldn't say they gloss over it, but there's a doctor that talks about how David Arquette's brain isn't put together like other people's are. I don't know if that's because of a car accident. I don't know. I keep thinking car accident. I thought I heard that. Again, that seems a little bit glossed over, but I'm like, maybe because, they don't want to hone in on that, because that's not what the story's about. But I'm like, is that why David acts that way? Maybe, and if so, that's sad. Like, does he have sort of a form of brain damage? Maybe they didn't want to hone on that because, that's not something you really want to talk. No one would want to talk about themselves, but I don't know, I'm like, does that explain something? But it's his, being a big fan, he was and is a big fan of wrestling, and how he hates the fact that 20 years later people still hone in on this, and how he would love to get respect. This is a guy who definitely seems like he wants to be loved, and he wants people to like him, but at the same time, it doesn't come off as selfish, it doesn't come off as petty, it doesn't come off as a person just bitching. I thought that was handled very well, and about how he wants to get into this, and he wants to be a wrestler, at least for a bit, and he wants to prove himself. And this journey was really interesting. Take him into backyard wrestling, which I don't know if that's really wrestling, but, and you could tell, like, these other people who hate him and they talk shit about him, not in the movie, but in a comment I read, I was looking up info on the film, people said these guys pretty much did a mugging on David Arquette. Like, they beat the fuck out of him in the ring, but he took it because they're like, he's paying his dues. I'm like, you want what, motherfucker, pay dues? The check is in the fucking mail, as well as with a middle fucking finger. Paying your dues, my ass. But, David Arquette is a nice guy. He goes along with it. Some of his family, like Patricia Arquette or Courtney Cox, his ex-wife, she has a few appearances in this. They don't understand it. They're confused by it. I like that the film has a lot of clips to really set the story so it's not confusing. So you have clips from WCW back in the day. These even, apparently, this was done around when 3,000 Miles to Graceland. So back in the day when he had the belt, he was on set, and there's Kurt Russell, and he tells Kurt Russell, hey, I'm the champion. And Kurt Russell looks at him and goes, yeah, right. So that was a clip from back in the day. It was cool to see stuff like that. And you see clips from some of his movies, like Scream, Eight-Legged Freaks. And how his journey goes from backyard wrestling to Mexico, where these people actually wrestle on the street, or on the streets for pocket change, and training with. And then there's one match with this piece of shit called Nick Gage, which the movie doesn't go into this, but I looked up Nick Gage. This is a guy that was arrested for armed robbery. Okay, and this guy, I mean, I know this is a spoiler. I don't know if I want to spoil that. I'll wait till I get into spoilers. Something happens there, and you get the idea of David just wanting redemption for something that honestly was never his fault in the first place. It's raw, it's fast-paced, it's sad at times, but at the end it's very uplifting. I can't recommend this enough. I cannot recommend this documentary enough. I thought this was fantastic. I loved it. I wish it was available to buy, like to own physically, with features, commentaries. I wish. The thing that sucks about it is that this is getting ready to go heavy into festivals, but because of what's going on, obviously that wasn't the case. So you can rent it on YouTube or Amazon. It's about like $5, give or take. It's like, even if you're not into wrestling, it's a great watch. Well, I was saying, it's sad because I have a feeling this is going to be forgotten. Like, even now, no one knows what the hell this is. If I mention this, people are like, what the hell is that? Exactly. That's what sucks, is that I don't give a fuck about the upcoming goddamn Black Widow or the 15th fucking Saw film. But it's got Chris Rock. It's going to be the same fucking shit, different day. But this is going to get nothing, and no one's going to talk about it. And that sucks. Sucks so much I hit my fucking tab while trying to take a fucking drink. But yeah, to get more into spoilers, starting now. Some of the stuff, like in the end credits, you find out that, like, not David, but someone else mentions, you know what, people say David's so bad. You know what he did with his money when he was in WCW back in the day, and they made him win the belt? You know what he did with his money? He donated to the families of Brian Pillman and Owen Hart, these wrestlers who died, and he donated all the money to those families. But he's such an awful person, huh? And that's something David Arquette never brings up. Other people do. Because I watch a couple interviews with, like, there's a Zoom with all the people on webcams talking. There's a Q&A, and Diamond Dallas Page brings that up. At the end, someone else brings this up. Oh, I was talking about the Nick Gage thing. Again, this is spoilers. David Arquette did not know what he was getting himself into. Granted, he is a grown adult. He should have looked more into this. So part of it is his fault for just being ignorant about it. But I guess he just trusted, and he seems like a guy who just trusts people. I would trust people a bit too much. Some would say she's too nice of a guy. So he goes in, and the fucking guy, it's one of those death matches where those fucking things suck ass. I'm sorry, that's not wrestling to me. As someone put it, I could hit you as hard as I could. What talent does that take? But if we're actual wrestling, and I do something that you don't get hurt at all, but you pretend, and people believe that you're hurt, but afterwards you go home, you're perfectly fine, that takes talent. But getting a fucking light tube, like this Nick Gage asshole does, smacks him in the face, David Arquette in the face, a piece of fucking glass got into David Arquette's neck, like near the jugular, and he feels it, and he's ready to leave, but he has his passion for wrestling, so he goes back, and I would guess he probably got a little bit pissed and tries to fight him too, but then he finishes the match, and you know who helped him get to the emergency room? The guy who was there watching? Luke Perry. Luke Perry is in the dock helping him get to the emergency room. And that is sweet, but it's sad because, of course, later on, Luke Perry would pass away. Just like, was that Luke Perry? Because I didn't recognize him because Luke Perry, like, had a full beard. But they do state like that's like, oh shit, that man. And then afterward, that kind of hurt things because then you have a collage of like Joe Rogan and people saying, what the fuck is David Arquette doing? Is he an idiot? This is stupid. This is embarrassing. You know, don't quit your day job. And there's David Arquette in the hospital going. So that's what I mean. It's raw and it's fast paced, and moments like that are sad, but the end is very uplifting. I cannot recommend this enough. I really enjoy this. It hit all the right notes. I felt sympathy. It made me like David Arquette even more. He actually did have a couple wrestling matches. You did to see some of them look pretty decent. He got in shape. He lost weight. He did the work, and there are moments where they show that he's got broken bones or at the time, because of certain stuff, he was on blood thinners. That means if you got cut, you would bleed profusely, so it's even more dangerous. His wife and his kids going, what the fuck are you doing this for? Like I said, this hit all the right notes, and I can't recommend this enough. So You Cannot Kill David Arquette, to me, is, I would say movie, but it's a documentary, but it's, if I did a list of top 10, this would be number 1. That's how much I really enjoyed it. That might not be the case for everybody. I can only speak for myself. That's how much I really enjoyed it. It just hit all the right notes for me. And it makes me want to watch it again. It really does. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.